All right, as I said in the opening riff, Biden may be right about morale being down. We're going in the wrong direction. There's a lot of stress and anxiety. But he's always blaming COVID and whomever and whatever. It is his policies and American unhappiness from them. That's my take. Joining me now, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, an old friend. You know, Senator, I just grow so weary. He's never wrong. There's always something to blame. First of all, COVID, thankfully and gratefully, is now passing away through the system. People are not happy. There's too much welfare. Gas prices are too high. Baby formulas aren't around. We've screwed up on the border. We've screwed up in Afghanistan. You know, his right way, wrong way numbers are just appalling right now. So I agree with him. Morale is down. But I think it's because of him.
Yes, I give him credit for realizing that he has caused, that morale is down, but he does not realize he has caused this. And that is the problem of his staff. They're not telling them. I mean, look, the day he walked into the office, we were a net exporter of oil. Things were affordable. People had some money left over at the end of the month, and he has made one bad decision after another. And Secretary Gates had said, of course, that he was always wrong on every foreign policy decision. Larry, he is wrong on every decision, every economic decision, every foreign policy. He's wrong about the border. He's wrong on domestic policy. He has been wrong about CRT. You name it. He has been on the wrong side of every issue, and the American people have just about had it with him. They are at their wits' end. They are ready for November to get here. You say it as the cavalry is coming. And I would add to that, the cavalry, joined by the American people, are coming. They are on their way, and the people are going to be the people this year.
You know, Senator, it's just... like you and I have been looking at this stuff for a long time. This is an unhappy country, and that's an unhealthy country. And I have no doubt that male illness is up. But I would say to you, ma'am, that a lot of this is stress and anxiety about conditions that are going on, and a kind of lack of optimism and hopefulness. You know, Biden shows no optimistic leadership characteristics ever. He's too busy blaming everybody for what are the most obvious problems. I don't like it when America is unhappy, and I think that causes stress and anxiety.
Sure. You know, what we want is to protect hope and opportunity for all Americans. And opportunity means that you're going to be able to dream those big dreams and find a way to make them come true. Whether you're a child, a student, whether you're a small business owner, you have the ability to dream those big dreams and then go out and find a way to execute on that dream and commercialize that concept. And people are hopeful for better days ahead of them. But right now, after Joe Biden's 18 months at trying to steer this country, people are less hopeful for a good future than they have ever been. Your public sentiment numbers are the lowest they have ever been. And Larry, people want to be hopeful. They want to instill in their children a desire to achieve and to be successful, and not to fear failure, to get up and try something again. But what they're seeing is this administration is saying, no, we want to take that opportunity away from you. We want the federal government to decide what you're going to see, say, hear, what you're going to think, what you're going to study in school. They'll give you a student loan, then they're going to tell you where they can go work. They want equal outcome, not equal opportunity, and it is disheartening to the American people. That is not who we are. You want the best for everyone, and you want everyone to have the opportunity to achieve their goals and dreams.
You know, I'm recalling stuff that was written years ago by Arthur Brooks, who was the longtime president of American Enterprise. In fact, you might have been in the audience. I interviewed him once for an hour at a National Review event. You may have been there. I don't recall. I think you were a House member, but it was so...
I think I was there.
It was so long ago, I can't remember a thing. But here's the point I want to make. Arthur Brooks wrote with data, he had latitudinal data on this, that people are unhappy when they're on welfare and they're very happy when they're working. Now, I know right now that labor markets are tight. I get that. However, welfare is very high. Welfare and food stamps and those small entitlements, we are still paying people not to work. And I think that is very discouraging. And I think that is labor force participation rate, to use a highfalutin economic phrase. And I think that is dispiriting, dispiriting, makes people unhappy, not happy. And I think that's problem with part of this anxiety and stress. And the welfare state, I mean, isn't Bidenism the welfare state? Isn't progressivism all about the welfare state?
Well, it is, because it's about control from daylight to dark. And what you have is an administration that has expanded all of these benefits, and it does discourage people from going to work. And you're exactly right. And Arthur Brooks did have that data to show how people feel more fulfilled. They feel as if their life is more intentional if they have a job and if they're producing and they have that self-worth that they don't get any other way. And they're feeding into the lives of other people's. And it is that rising tide that lifts all boats. And this administration is saying, no, we're not out for exceptionalism. We are more for the ordinary and for equal outcomes. And that dispirits people. And every generation wants their children to do better and to succeed, and for us to continue to innovate and improve this country and work toward a more perfect union. And when you say, no, that's not what we as a government want, then it takes that hopefulness away from people. And the other tipping point, I think, Larry, and you and I have talked about this numerous times, you look at this crossing that threshold of $30 trillion in debt. Psychologically, to the American people, that becomes a hurdle. And it is trying to figure out how we're going to manage that. And, of course, you want to work toward a balanced budget, as do I. I think we need to freeze spending, federal spending right now, to help get this inflation under control, and freeze hiring, freeze salaries and wages, so that you stop some of this and then do exactly what Mike Summers was just talking with you about. Oil producers, believe it or not, actually, yes, they do want to produce oil and provide energy for this country. That is a good thing. We should be encouraging domestic oil and energy production, all of the above. Every bit of it. Oil, gas, go back to fracking, bring Alaska back online, go back to exploring in the coast, give people drill permits for the leases that they hold. This is a solvable problem. But this administration's intention is to narrow the options that individuals have and to coalesce power and authority with the federal government. In
the state, in the hands of the state. And as far as the folks are concerned, the working folks are concerned, mediocrity, that's all the mediocrity, redistributionism, welfareism. I got to go, Senator, but you're right. We've been talking about this for a long time, you and I. There are times in our history in the last 30, 40, 50 years where we had it right, and then there are times like this when we have it wrong. But this too will pass. You're right.
You got it.
To coin a phrase, the cavalry's coming. Senator Marsha Blackburn, great state of Tennessee. Thank you, man.